Thank you. I think, in my opinion, it's not easy, but it's a line that we are determined to maintain. As I said, we respect all the great powers, we respect our neighbors, and we really believe that the only way for prosperity is collaboration, cooperation, and peaceful coexistence. And this is what we try to achieve. So we want to maintain good relations, and we try to convince all parties that the only way forward in this planet is getting smaller. We cannot afford rivalry that is going nowhere. That can only, especially if it goes into confrontation. So no, I'm convinced that we have to maintain this path of non-alignment.
Mr. President, you were shaking your head when we were exchanging this question. What are your thoughts on, bringing adversaries to the table? Does it require, is defeat a prerequisite for dialogue, or we can, bypass this phase and go to dialogue? And there are so many crises in the world that cannot afford a victorious
Well, I have to say here that Nelson Mandela is one of my greatest icons, my greatest hero. I think it's an inspiration. He was put in prison for many years. He was sentenced to death, threatened to be sentenced to death, accused of many things. And his famous statement was that he was willing to give his life for the principle of freedom. But the greatness of Nelson Mandela, when he got out of prison, he worked for reconciliation with his former enemies. So this is the greatness of Nelson Mandela, and this I try also to carry out in my domestic politics. I reconciled with many of my former opponents. For instance, we had a very long rebellion, separatist rebellion in Aceh, very long. I think more than nearly 30 years. But can you imagine that the former commander of the Aceh Liberation Army, fighting against us for 25 years more, now he joined my party. He's in my political party. And he's now governor of Aceh, and I'm president of Indonesia. This shows that former enemies can come together. And I think this is the lesson of Nelson Mandela. I want to say I was a former soldier. And as a former soldier, I really know the value of peace and reconciliation. As a former soldier, I always try, now, even before, I always try to negotiate. Negotiate. Better to talk than to kill each other. This is my position. Always talk, always negotiate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would later go back to some aspects of your answer, mainly about the nuclear aspect of what's happening. But I'd like to go back to the other participants. Indonesia, Bahrain, and South Africa are three countries actively deepening relationship with Russia. From what I understood, this conflict, unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong, might go longer, might go for long. How are you planning to mitigate the fallout of this conflict in terms of secondary sanctions, in terms of political reputation in the world, in terms of pressure coming from your other allies? This is a very, very complicated situation. You don't want to be in any way, but that's reality. I will start with you, Mr. President.
I really don't understand, actually, your question. What secondary sanctions?
I'll make it simple.
Yeah. For Indonesia, we are very clear that we have always been on the line. In the Ukrainian situation, I think 2 years ago, we proposed immediate ceasefire in place. And I think at that time, the reaction from the Russian side was quite open, was quite positive, in fact. But the reaction from the Western governments, I have to be fair, not all Western governments, but many Western media virulently attacked my proposal. They said that I was proposing the peace of the cemetery. That was what many of these Western journalists accused me of. So we would always propose a peaceful solution. And at that time, I reminded everybody that even in Korea now, North Korea and South Korea, there's a demilitarized zone supervised by the United Nations. The war in Korea is officially not yet over, but there's a peaceful condition. So that was what we proposed, like to save the people of Ukraine on all sides, people of the Russian-speaking areas, just to save them, a secession in place. That was as if we are far from the place, but we want to promote a peaceful solution. So I don't understand who's going to give sanctions to us.
We were talking about friendship a while ago, and the friends of Russia in this panel. I will start from South Africa, and then Bahrain, and then Indonesia. And if China would love to comment on that, the floor is open. Are you surprised that a friend of Iran, of Russia, Iran, is under attack, and Russia did not step up to help that ally? This is at least one of the narratives in the media. Where is Russia in this conflict? As friends, are you surprised?
Okay. My position is this: is the logical position that each country is responsible and will defend its own national interest. So, being friends is being friends, trying to cooperate, trying to help each other. But being friends does not mean that every country must give their national interest to another country's national interest. So it will be the decision of every country to defend and protect its national interest. That is my position.
Mr. President, how your country is, let's say, taking advantage of the current economic situation in Russia. Like, people left, businesses are left back. There are opportunities in the market now for a country like Indonesia. How are you leveraging the situation?
As I mentioned that I have had good relations with Russian business entities, business groups, but mostly I have to be very frank, they were interested and they are interested in coming into Indonesia. And because I think we have a lot of sectors that are still very, let us say, at the ground level, a lot of way to grow. And so basically it's mostly Russian groups that want to come to Indonesia. But before, our groups have joint ventures with Russian groups in commodities trading, oil and gas. So, and now we open our markets for Russian agriculture products. So, I think it's not that we're going to take advantage, but we are going to look for all opportunities. Yeah. Because we have also been given a very heavy dose of tariffs from, everybody knows, right, from the American market. Yeah? So we are forced now to look for new markets, Africa, Latin America, Eurasia. We are just concluded. We are in the process of concluding a free trade agreement with the Eurasian Union. So